channel. My name is Jessie, and yeah, sitting on the floor, kind of weird. I have redone my bookshelf and I kind of did a little bit of organization. So I still have my ladder white bookshelf over here, which I absolutely love. I still have my milk crates over here, but I decided to utilize my rolling cart, as you can say. This is not very original. I know there's tons of people that do this. However, I was getting a little overwhelmed with my bookshelves being a little crowded, overfull, and I had quite a few books that I needed to read, and putting them all together was a little overwhelming. Plus, seeing like things that I need to get to or that I've been putting off for a while, I decided to move all of my unread books over to my new book cart, which I've had this for a while, but it's now officially my book cart. So for today's video, I thought it'd be kind of cool to show you like how I'm going to have this like organized and set up, but also show you all the books that I still have not read on my shelf. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into the book cart itself. This is actually from Michael's, I believe. I got this like years ago, probably like, I think right after I got married in 2015. So this is where I got it. I used one of the Michael's like notorious 40-50% off coupons. So highly recommend if you do decide to go to Michael's, use the coupons. They're always there. I do have like some bookish stickers on here that a friend had gifted me and one that I actually collected from a bookstore. And I do have some more, so I'll probably add a little bit more as time goes on. Up top, this is actually going to be like my monthly TBR or my library books right here. So that's mostly what these are. I decided to keep all of my September TBR books off of here because I've already completed most of them. So I'll just kind of go over what's in my library section. So, and that way when I'm done with a library book, I can also put it like towards the back area. That way I know I need to return it and then I'm done with it. So I have Tell Me Lies by Carol Lovering. I actually just finished this not too long ago, so I need to return this, but this was on my library shelf. I also have Rewind by Catherine Ryan Howard. I'm also trying to do like a Catherine Ryan Howard like author taste test video. I just haven't started that, so I have this one from my library. I also was able to score Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. This one's like a traditional thriller, but it has like time traveling backwards elements in it. I don't know, it sounds really good. I also have this graphic novel, which I still need to read, but this could be like a quick and easy read, but it's Happily Ever After and Everything in Between. This is the same author and artist that did Quiet Girl in a Noisy World, so I'm really curious to see how this one turns out. And then I also picked up these two for two different reasons. I have not heard good things about Beth O'Leary, but this one just sounds really interesting. It's called The No Show, and then I picked this one up because of the author, because I did not even know this book was even a thing. But this is by Angie Hockman, which is the author of Shipped, so I have Dream On. Alright, so those are all the library books. Now this one right here is mostly paperbacks, and this one will mostly be hardback. However, I did have to lower a little bit more of my paperbacks over to the lower side. I have The Girl I Was by Geneva Rose. I love Geneva Rose's writing. I loved One of Us is Dead and also The Perfect Marriage, but I want to see what her other writing style is with, I think this is like a contemporary book. I'm not sure if it's a romance at all, but I think this was pitched as like 13 going on 30, but like also running into your past self in a way, so it sounds really cute. I also have My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. I did not get to this one this summer. I'll be honest, I have no idea when I'm going to get to this one, but I haven't really heard hardly any buzz about this one, so I don't know. I also still have The Last Time I Saw You by Liv Constantine. I loved The Last Mrs. Parrish, but the other two books I've read by this author have kind of been sort of a letdown, to be honest, so I'm a little nervous about reading this one, and I don't think this one was a fan favorite either. Then I have Sally Thorne's The Second First Impression, which Gwen actually, I think Gwen gave me this one, I'm pretty sure last year for my birthday, so Gwen, I'm so sorry, I still haven't read it, but I know she loved this one. I loved The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, so I definitely want to get to this one very soon. The next set, I have Mirrorland by Carol Johnston. This one I picked up from my little local indie bookstore. I picked this one up, and then as soon as I picked it up, everyone was like, oh, it's terrible, like you won't like it, and I was like, oh, okay. I do want to read it, so I'm still holding on to it. Next, this was a kind of a newer purchase. I got this at Target. I still haven't removed the sticker, but this is Sleepless by Rami Hasselman, I believe is how you say her name. The sticker's kind of covering the last end of it. But this one just sounds very dark, unique. I don't know. I want to pick this one up. I also have Kirsten Modulon's Tell Me the Truth, which I have had kind of an up and down relationship with Kirsten Modulon's writing. I loved the arrangement. There's a few others I liked, but there are a few like 1 to 2 star books that I've read, and I'm just like, But this one sounds really interesting. It's about a woman finding out husband's secrets. Sounds a little cliche, but I still want to read it. This one, if you've been a follower for at least within the past year, this one has been on my TBR forever, but it's Within These Walls by Anaya Alborn. I have been putting this one off for so long, and one of the reasons is this year I discovered I don't really like cults in my books, and this one follows a notorious cult leader who's behind bars. So, and it's a little bit thicker. I think it's like it's like right over 400 pages. So it's a little bit on the chunkier side, but I'm determined to get to this one. The next one I have is You Were There Too by Colleen Oakley. This one sounds really interesting. It's about 2 people. Like, it's about a woman who is married. I think she has a family as well. And she's been dreaming of this guy like in her sleep. And she finally meets him, and he admits to her that he's had the same dreams, but about her. So it sounds really interesting. I really want to get to this one. All right, the next set I have here is Spare Room by Deidre Shea Mitchell. This was actually borrowed from Gwen. And Gwen, I swear to you, I'm going to return your book. I promise you, it's gonna happen. For some reason, it just never falls into my lap. But I promise you, I'm going to read this one. But she gave this one, I think, like a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And she said this one was very creepy. Had like the tenants who are kind of creepy. I don't know. I was kind of sold by it. This one, I believe I won on like a TBR challenge in the Facebook book clubs I'm in. It's The Request by David Bell. I've had this one on my list forever. This one sounds kind of different than a normal like thriller. This one is about a guy who basically his best friend breaks up with this woman, and she's I think she's kind of like told that she's like not completely stable. So he asks his friend to go into the house to get something that he left over at the girlfriend's house, and when he gets there, the girlfriend is dead and the cops show up. Sounds like a setup to me. The next one I have is Wicked Souls by Katie Wismer. I still have this one on my shelf. I'm not a big like fantasy, paranormal, spicy reader, but I do support Katie Wismer, who is a booktuber, author tuber, whatever that category is. But I do want to support her because I do like her content and I do like her writing style pretty much. So I do eventually want to read book 2. The next one I have, I think I'm still like struggling finding the audiobook, but this is Where Secrets Lie by Eva Gibson. This one is about like something that happened, and then friends are having to go back to their hometown to figure out what happened. But there was also like kind of a relationship between a guy and a girl, and there was a third person in the friendship group. So I don't know, it sounds like it could be like potentially like a thriller romance, which is like my favorite like subgenre, but we'll see. The next 2 I actually just recently purchased. I actually did this on my Upside Down Readathon day 1. If you're interested, I will leave that in the description box. So I have vlogged for at least the first 5 days. But I have Archer's Voice by Mira Sheridan, which I have been seeing a lot over on Book Talk. I've heard a lot about this book, but for some reason Book Talk has really sold it to me. And then I also picked up Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This one, again, heavily influenced on Book Talk. So I decided to pick these 2 up. Maybe I might do like a Book Talk romance made me do it video. Who knows? Alright, so moving down here, I do have 4 more paperbacks, and then we'll get into the hardbacks, which I'm shocked that I don't have as many hardbacks for some reason. The next one I have is Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've read 4 other Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, and this is the last one that I own that I have not read, so I'm really curious to read this one. And then this one I just picked up not too long ago. It's The American Roommate Experiment. This one just sounded super cute. It was on sale for like $9 at Sam's Club, so that's why I picked it up, but it looks super cute. And I'm sorry, the German Shepherd on the back, sold. Alright, the next one I have is another Anaya Alborn. This is If You See Her. I have no idea what this one is about. It was on my Amazon wish list, and I won this book because of, again, another TBR challenge video. This has been on my Amazon wish list for a little while and I completely forgot what it's about. But I won this one because of a TBR challenge, again, through the Facebook book club that I'm a part of. So I actually won this copy as a prize. So I'm really excited to get to it. And then the last paperback I have is Sick Fucks by Tilly Cole. I'll be honest, Beth from Beth's All Book sold me on this one and then she never finished it. But it just sounded really dark, really twisted. I'm really excited to eventually get to it. But I'm having a hard time finding an audiobook. I heard this got banned from Amazon for a little bit and then it got re-put back on Amazon. I have no idea, but I've heard it's super dark and pretty messed up. The next two I will group together. This one is Runtime by Catherine Ryan Howard. Again, I'm trying to do like a Catherine Ryan Howard taste test. I did eventually unhaul 56 Days by the same author, but I know Lena really enjoyed this one and I'm trying to do like an author taste test. So I went ahead and hauled it back into my collection so I can include that into that video experiment and see what do I think. The next one I have is Chevy Stevens' Never Let You Go. I think this is the last Chevy Stevens book that I own that I have not read. But I was originally introduced to this book from Haley over from Haley Hughes and she really enjoyed this one. So I'm really excited to read this one. It kind of reminds me of like Behind Closed Doors, Stillhouse Lake type of vibes, so we'll eventually see. And the next ones are all Book of the Month books. I've had this one on my shelf for so long, but it's Long Bright River. It's a little intimidating because it's so long, but it sounds like it could be something like really dark and emotional. It's not your traditional thriller, even though it's kind of marketed as a thriller. But I do eventually want to read this one, but I keep holding on to it and not reading it. I also want to get more into like true crime, so I did pick up American Predator from Book of the Month. I saw that this was an option to add on to my box, so I went ahead and picked this one up. I have no idea what this one is about or who it's about actually. But it says The Hunt for the Most Malicious Serial Killer of the 21st Century. And the next one I have is Tell Me Lies by Julie Clark. I was not a fan of The Last Flight. I felt like it was very reminiscent of like Gone Girl in a way. And I feel like that's like a trope or something that like, you know, an inspiration into like another story. Like I just don't really like that whole trope. I feel like Gone Girl did it so well that like no one else needs to like, not necessarily copy, but be inspired by that type of book. But I did pick up this one. I've heard really good things about it. So, and lastly, I have The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I'm really nervous to read this one because I have not heard good things about it, but I loved The Silent Patient. It's one of my favorite like thrillers with the biggest plot twist that like I was just so oblivious by that plot twist. It really threw me for a loop. So I want to eventually get to it and I love the gold foil on it. All right guys, that is my completed TBR cart tour books that I have not read yet video. So I went ahead and counted them. So all of the ones from my own collection, it equals out to 26, actually 25 plus Gwen's that she lent me. So I do need to try to get these done. We'll see. I don't think that can get done by the end of the year, but we'll see. If you like this video or if any of the video ideas that I shouted out to you appeal to you, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up and comment down below, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any other bookish content, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.